The guy that's walking away comes back over and he comes down with machete, hits me in the head with machete. So when he hit me in the machete, I looked at him and when I looked up, he must have got scared. He went, oh, it's him. It's too late now. The man's hit me already. That's why he froze. Obviously, the machete's quite long. He's trying to stab me from behind. And it was too long to stab me. So as he's pulled it forward, I literally pulled the machete from his hand, so I lost that split tendon. I took the machete off and I went straight for a minute. Yeah, I was born in Vietnam. Came over to the UK probably about 4 or 5 years old. We thought we were coming over here for a better life, you know, and to be honest with you, we came over, it was completely different from what my parents, I didn't know nothing back then. But yeah, we came over here, we came to Newcastle first, and then we went from Whitley Bay, Durham, and then back to Newcastle in Benwell. And Benwell is the West End, it's the worst part of Newcastle. And that's when we started to see how bad it was, yeah. So, yeah, the life I was there was very racist. I was about 5 years old, I think. I got a friend of mine up in Newcastle called Johnny. And he was the only English person, obviously a friend of mine. And we was in the same classroom together. So we used to play out together. And then we used to go down the park. And one day we went down the park, there was a 10 and a 12 years old. They beat me up. And then obviously my friend jumped in to help and they beat him up more worse because he was a lover. So they smashed him really bad. And his brother Aaron come running down. And then obviously they ran away and that was it. Eventually we moved to London. After about 3 years, I went to Newcastle. So we came down to London. We lived in a hotel where they put all the immigrants, all the Chinese, all the Vietnamese, all in the one place. And you know what happens from there, and it's going to be a lot of trouble. There's a lot of us that we speak the same language, and we go out and make a lot of trouble climbing. You know, as little kids, we used to do things. So yeah, but we went to school. First day at school in the new school, a kid called Robert, he came in there, he wanted to be the tough dog, the bully of the school. He offered me a fight, and obviously I fight him. And then while we was fighting, no one really won. The teachers pulled us off. I didn't really like fighting. It's just I didn't have a choice. I didn't like to fight. I never liked to fight. I just didn't have a choice, but people coming to attack me. I just learned to fight, to defend myself. So yeah, that fight liking, I never liked it. Even to today, I don't like it. I don't like violence, full stop, but we didn't have a choice at the time. Then where my life really changed is the incident I had with a guy called Scott. As I was walking through one path and through some estate, there's 3 white lads playing football. Grown men, not children, grown men. I was only 12 at the time. They were playing football, and then somehow the football came over to us. And so I went to kick the football. They were over that direction. As I kicked the football, it's gone this way. So the guy came over, thought I might have been funny, so he's smacked me straight in the face. I fell on the floor, and my friend picked me up, and he's running away, whacking his leg like, I know what I've done to this, you know, really shouting it out. And then my friend picked me up, and then we, you know, continued walking again. He's ran over again, smacked me again in the face again. And then obviously my friend picked me up again, you know, and then he's screaming and I'm so proud of it. But the other 2 guys, they didn't do nothing. The other 2 white guys who were with me didn't say nothing. They were watching it, they know exactly what I'm saying. And yeah, so picked me up again and we continue walking. And then 3rd time, I just see my friend run because he ran up really aggressive. And by the time I turned around, he had his hand over my throat. And they put me straight against the car and they started smashing me. And I don't know where I was. And I always say thank you to God for the blessings that put my brother there, because they were roaming around in big gangs at the time. There was, I think, 6 of them that day. They were walking around the area with pipes and everything like that, you know. They all ran over. And then this fight kicked off. And then the other 2 joined in and that was it. It's finished. Got best of them. It's done. So as we were walking, police beat wagon pulls up and that's it. You're nicked. We're laughing there. We're joking around and everything. We don't think nothing of seriousness of what was happening. But then obviously we got attacked first, so we didn't think that we were bad, you know, we did anything wrong. But before we know it, we're in court for a charge. GBH, and they don't look at what he's done to me. So anyway, we ended up in court. The court lasted a year. After the court, basically at the end of the court, we got found out guilty. And then the CID came out and said, "You bloody do you think you could do that to one of ours and get away? I'm gonna get you." And this is where life all started. Then I started to like this gang life. Right before I said I didn't like violence. So I started the gang life. If there was a fight, kick up, we'll just fight. So that's how it all started as gangs, you know, fighting. So we're fighting ourselves to defend ourselves from racist situations, but now we become the problem. We're fighting our own people now, because what's happened now is you create this big gang, you got area codes out, you got Stockwell boys, Deptford boys, Woolwich boys. So yeah, we start fighting each other. And it started from fist fights to baseball bats, and then before you know it, it escalated to machetes.
And what was the name of the group or gang that you were associated with?
We was part of the gang was called Stockwell Boys. That's our gang, was Stockwell Boys, and we fight definitely. And we fight a lot of gangs. And what happens with a lot of gang fighting? You then become friends afterwards. I know it sounds funny, but you become friends. So like Stockwell Boys, we came friends with Woolwich Boys, some other gangs, Peckham Boys, you know. Then you got Deptford with Bansfield and whatnot, and then they're the gangs, the opposite gang, our rivals. And they're like cousins and whatnot. And we were just, when they got bigger, we stopped fighting bigger. But they got to a point where the Deaf Boys, they joined the Triads. This is when it becomes serious. Now, we're boys now, and we're going to the Triad life. Now these are organised crime. These are not like small crime guys around the corner in street corners. These are guys from big operations, and they come in and do what they got to do, and they will deal with it. And they got levels of sergeants and whatever. You go from the top gang, the dragon head, then down to the sergeant, and then down to the controller, and then the arms of foot soldiers. So there's a lot of ranking in this Triad life.
To anyone that doesn't know, who are the Triads and what are they about?
Triads is they're originally related from China and Hong Kong. They're like an organised underworld operation, gang operation things, like a government thing. But it was brutal, brutality is, just hurt you. Whatever they want, they will get it. They will get what they want. And a lot of people think that the Triads are very small in this. They don't exist. That's the worst thing. They think they don't exist. To know if Triad activity is there and if they exist, just go into any restaurant, look at any person that looks like me, Chinese or Thai or whatever, as long as they look Asian, like me. Then you see the teapot. The head of the teapot, just say this is where to pour the teapot, this is the handle. If I put, say for example, if there's a gang member over there, I put the teapot that way, it means I want war. And if a waiter puts the teapot down, he will never directly at me. If he points at me like that, that means war. It means, it's almost an F off. So that's how it starts war. So if you've got gang members all around you, what they usually do is they put two teapots together. So they're not pointing at anyone. So that's one thing, that's to know how a Triad exists or not.
So where do the Triads operate?
Okay, the Triad operation is, Chinatown is one of the most easiest places to make money. So to go to Chinatown and make money, you have to go to restaurants and obviously get protection money, protection racket, things like that. That's how it all starts, from that level. So they go in there and they start bullying their own people because they know their own people, know the background, know where they live, so obviously they can't go to police. And a lot of Chinese people don't go to police because they don't trust the police. It's like what happened to me. But that's why a lot of these kind of crimes don't go into the light and no one talks about it. Because if you don't have faith in police, who can you have faith in? If the Triads come to your place and distort your restaurant, they will go into your restaurant with and they'll pour over your customer, over your restaurant, and that's it. No one's gonna come out there. That's how they destroy your business. But before they do protection rackets, what they normally do is when you open a new restaurant, they bring a tangerine tree in. Little tangerines with a red thing around, they bring it in and put it on the thing with an envelope and basically telling you that we're here. Now this is when you've got to start paying us now. And if you do not pay us, then it's going to be a problem.
There's obviously racketeering and then like gambling involved. What
money laundering, nightclubs, late night cinemas, anything to do with money. I'm not talking about small money, I'm talking about big money. They're not going to sit around the corner selling £20 crack or heroin or whatever. They're into big money, big projects. They're not doing small things. Anything they get themselves into, we're talking thousands, millions. Yeah. They're not doing no small stuff. So what they do is the Hong Kong gangs get big and they start to send out the sergeants into different countries. And their sergeants comes into a different country with a lot of money. I'm talking most important is money. There's always have to have money. You buy into an area where there's a lot of Chinese people, you can control them, you can manipulate them, and you bring them in. So they bring all these big sergeants into certain areas, like say 14K, SW, and so if there's 3 major gangs in the UK, but the 2 major big players are the 14K and SW.
Going back to your life then, what was your first interaction with 14K?
One of our gang members, his older brother followed 14K. And before you know it, we got dragged into it. We don't even know that we're part of the gang after that. We just go and place and associate with them and we become part of their gang. I was just told to put £3.60 into an envelope and give it to this person and make him a cup of tea. But I didn't realise what I was doing. I thought I was just giving someone a cup of tea with respect and then £3.60. But then I said, you write your name in an envelope and that's it, you're in the gang already.
Is that how you were initially?
Yeah, no, that's how we got in the gang. We didn't know what it was. We didn't even know we were following the gang. I couldn't even speak Chinese at the time. So I didn't know what I was doing, so I just did it. And then we're part of the gang already. We're in this 40K gang. 40K had problems. There's 2 different sides. 2 different sides, but same gang, but 2 different organisations. They're organised differently. So even though it's the same gang, and that's the most dangerous war, what they call inner war, we were scored up and say, we got to go Chinatown. And before we know it, and then one of these gambling dens, and there was a big shouting and raring and everything, and that was all inside this place, and we had no one outside. And there's a guy at the back of the room, downstairs in the basement, trying to make a phone call. You know, old mobile phones, he didn't have no reception. Thank God he didn't have reception. If he got reception, we would have been dead. Because we had no one outside, we had nothing in there, we had no tools, nothing with us. I'm looking for weapons, there's no weapon in this place. So I saw a kettle. So I poured the water out the kettle and poured oil in it, cooking oil, and to keep boiling the cooking oil. And then there was a chair, you know one of these stool things? I snapped the legs off it and I gave one each to everyone. That was the only weapon that we got. If anyone threw that door, we would have died. They were kind of weapons, but at least we had something, we had a fighting chance. So anyway, thank God for that. Anyway, nothing happened. We got through it. Everything was sorted out. No trouble.
How violent was your life and the life of the Triads?
Violence, well, I can say there's no limit to violence. We just do what we had to do, you know. I see brothers die. My brother, like I said, Alan was a good brother. He's a very good brother. He died in the life. He got stabbed, throat cut. The gang life is pretty, everything goes. Everything goes, anything goes. It doesn't matter what it is. It depends who's on call. With these gang members, the top guys at the top, they know who's capable of doing what. If Machete needs to be involved, they will be. Machete's supposed to be involved, yeah, if it has to be guns, it'll be guns.
And so how long were you in the 14K for?
14K, I would say maybe 2-3 years.
Yeah.
At the most, yeah. 2-3 years at the most.
And what were you doing for them? What kind of work were you?
Through 14Ks, I really didn't know what all I did was fight for them. I never got rewarded anything for them. Yeah, they phoned me out every Sunday. I got out and fight for them. But every Sunday you'll be on standby to go help them recruit soldiers, smash up a restaurant or beat someone. You know, it's those stupid activities. So, yeah, we did that for 2-3 years. I got bored of it. It was just boring. It's the same old rubbish stuff. Just beating people for no reason. I don't like that kind of stuff. I say, you ain't making nothing from it as well. And they're making money from it. So as foot soldiers, we will fight for them and risk our life for them and we go jail for them. And they're the ones who's picking the money at the end of it.
And how were you initiated into the gang?
Yeah, as initiation, it depends on which gang. Every gang members have different, the gang codes are different. So with this one here, you just wear your boxer shorts or shorts, whatever. They just get like a bamboo stick. They just hit you, the leaf, and hit you just to hit you. So what they do is that means they beat you to death and reborn you. That's what they call it. You don't hit it that hard, but that's what they call it. Initial like that. Once you've done that finish, you go and get a cup of tea, envelope, and then you sit down to the boss and you say to him, here's the envelope to your boss, and then you say, Dalo Yam Ta. So it means older brother, big brother, drink tea. And that's it. From there, you become part of the issue of the gang.
How old were you when you joined SW?
I was maybe 16, 17, I think, 16, 17, somewhere around there, 16, 17.
And what did you do for them then?
Same rubbish again. It's the same old rubbish, the same old thing. All these gang members, they'll use you to fight and everything. And same again, I made nothing from it. So I fight for them for nothing. They never give me nothing. And then the worstest thing in this gang life is when you are feared by, or when you're feared, they fear of you, they will never bring you up. So in this gang life, I didn't realise this until afterwards. The gang lords always find a business-making person, a person with a mind to make money. It's very similar to the Italians. So one that makes money and one that fights. They're a foot soldier. And they never put that cross path. Because the reason why they fear that if you cross path, then you're gonna end up taking their what they call it, their food. Because they're taking their money. So they never let you cross path. And if you're obviously overpower them and they find that you're a threat to them, they keep you at the lowest end. They'll never bring you to the top. They always keep you at the bottom end. One guy will come up there and ask the boss and say, I want 30 grand, and the boss will give it to him. The other guy say 15, he'll give it to him. 10, he'll give him, whatever number. When I come in there, I asked him for 10,000, they don't want to give it to me. So you got it. But you got a big restaurant, you got money to give to them. But I didn't understand. Then after a while, my friend goes to me, do you know why they won't give it to you? You're the guy that goes and collect money from them when their one pays up. So when you don't pay out, who's going to come collect the money from you? And then at 6 o'clock, I realised, oh shit, it's true. You're too ruthless. That's why they will not give money to people like you. Because they're scared of you. Mm. Okay, no problem. So that's when I started learning how to make money myself.
How did you start making money then?
Making money is this, you just learn the routes. You go out there, like, because nightclubs, what happens when people are organised nightclubs and they need protection, they've got security, isn't it? Their security can only do their security, but when the people that turn up at these clubs are not, they don't care about security. They will chop securities up. They will do what they got to do. So as a name, once you start, you get out there, you make yourself a strong name. People respect you and they also fear you. They don't want to trouble you. If you're at that front door, they're cool. Most of these nightclubs, when they open clubs, they give to like other gang members 10, 20 tickets, entry free. Others, depends on the level of gang, obviously, what you are. So so they pay me between £1,500 to £3,000 just for the night, just for them, just be there. So I don't have to stand at the door. I'll have a couple of my boys there, and then I'll be in the clubs, chilling or whatever. And then after the end of the club, get paid to go home. That's it, done. That's how that money started. Yeah, so my brother ran a nightclub, and then some people demanded, like I said, you bought 10, 20 tickets, but these guys demanded 30, 40. They think they're some kind of top dog. They want extortion amount of tickets. So my younger brother couldn't speak Chinese, so he didn't understand, too much about what they were saying. So when the guy said "da war," it means let's squash it, let's break even, let's call it a day. So my father thought in Chinese, "da" means fight, war means even. But my younger brother didn't understand it, so he started shouting at this boss over the phone. And then it kicked off. I had a phone call from my brother, one of my other brothers. Oh, your brother's in Finsbury Park. There's a problem, so it needs to be sorted. So I jumped in the car and drove down there. I see two guys jump my brother. I jumped there, smashed the guy, hit the guy. And then next minute, the guy that's walking away comes back over and he comes down with machete, hits me in the head with machete. So when he hit me with machete, I looked at him and when I looked up, he must have got scared. He went, oh shit, it's him. It's too late now. The man's hit me already. That's why he froze. And I just went straight and I punched his ribs and he fell on the floor. And as I was trying to hit him on the ribs, obviously the machete's quite long. He's trying to stab me from behind. And it was too long to stab me. So as he's pulled it forward, I literally pulled the machete from his hand, so I lost that split tendon. I took the machete off and I went straight for a minute. And he's ran straight into the bit where the spinning where you pay for the money to ticket in Finsbury Park, where I don't know if you've been there. But he's jumped in there and got the chair and done this, isn't it? So he was only a bad man when he has a machete, but when he loses a machete, he becomes something else. And eventually, they drove me to hospital. So I had this stitched up, they stitched my head first. I was in the hospital and I get a phone call saying they found out where the guy is. And then my older brother also heard that the doctor said 3 millimeters of death or something. I can't remember what it was. They were hit the temple, I died. So my brother misheard it. He thought I died.
What's the reality of like your mental state when you're involved that heavily in organised crime? Are you worried for your life?
No, I never did. No, that's the problem with me. When I walked into this life, I never worried about prison. I never feared prison or death. I never feared either of them. So that's why I think back at myself now, because I didn't fear them. It made me go beyond, because even when I recruited gang members, I always said to them before I bring them into the gang, I don't do what they do, they just give you envelope and force you in or whatever it is. I'll ask them straight, I'll say, if you fear death and prison, then this is not for you, leave now. I don't have any hard feelings, just go, but we can still be friends. But if you don't fear it, then you're welcome to stay, if you want to stay. And if you say you've got 30 guys coming in to join the gang, maybe you get 4 or 5 that will stay. But that's all you need. The 4 or 5 guys that come into the gang is all you need. It's a dangerous life, but to me, I never feared danger. I don't know why I never feared it.
Why did you move away from a life of organised crime?
I went for a very bad moment for the last 5-6 years. I went through a very bad phase, and that's part of the test of what happens to me. I went through a lot of seeing everything I've seen in my life. Friends dying. This happened to people, see the people that we hurt. Yeah, I went through a bad phase. A lot of my brothers are Muslim. I'm a non-believer. My father's Christian and my mum was Buddhist. I went to both, and studied both. Not studied, but listened to a lot of it. I can't read and write. And I met a lot of brothers. I know a lot of Muslim brothers. And a lot of people say to me, come home to Islam. But it never crossed my mind. So when I was going through the darkest moment of my life, I heard them call Allah all the time, Allah. So I've heard it. So I spoke. I said to Allah, please guide me. I'm 48, but I'm still boys, please guide me. So anyway, before you know it, my life got better. This crime life is not good, hurting each other and fighting for people, harming people, threatening people, bullying people. It's not the right way. It's not right. Even though I'm not saying I'm a saint in any way. I've done what I've done. I've learned a bit of it, Maybe the way I look at this, I had to go through this life as a test. So maybe this year is to help others. And I hope it can help other people, I lost with these young ones. Start getting yourself involved in gangs, trying to find a sport or something that you're good at doing, and just do that. Concentrate on that and make your family happy. Because I say like this, if you've got 2 gang members, one kills this one dies, and this one's alive, you're both destroyed. Your family hurt each other. No one wins. One dies, goes in the grave, one's in prison. So who wins? The devil wins. I see all this afterwards. But it's better that I'm still, I'm lucky to be here today. I'm very lucky to be here today.
It was just a life of crime for me. We used to just steal cars, and when the jeweller shops were opened, just draw right outside them and sledgehammer them and take the money. And as the years went on, the offending just got more serious.